Friends, in my previous video, I talked to you about what a story is and what a story is not. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about 3 reasons why storytelling is important for sales. Right? So let's dive into it straight away. Reason number 1 is storytelling makes your buyer remember you. Now, let me repeat that. Storytelling makes your buyer remember you. Now, again, to prove this particular point, I'd like to share a story with you. Now, you must have heard this story on LinkedIn or maybe a YouTube video, but just to prove this particular point, first point, I would like to share this story with you again. Friends, an experiment was conducted by a professor in Stanford University, where in a class he asked 10 of the students to come forward and speak on non-violent crimes in the US. Right? And he asked the others to rate these people on delivery and persuasion. After these 10 students were done speaking on this particular topic, he showed the entire class a random video. A video which had no connection to non-violent crimes in the US, and his motive was to distract their attention from what they had just heard. After they had watched this random video, he asked all the people in the class to try and write down and remember what they had just heard from these 10 speakers. And the results were absolutely astonishing. Just about 5% of the class were able to remember facts and figures which these 10 people had quoted in their respective speeches. But about 63% of the people were able to recall stories which those 10 people had used. Now that's the power of storytelling in sales. Now, many a times what happens is in sales calls, we say that, our company is present in 22 different countries. We are the market leaders and so and so. We have allocated 10% of our budget to R&D. Now, all that is fine and all that needs to be said. Now, please don't get me wrong. These facts are required. But do you think your customer is going to remember all these facts? No. So if you really want your customer to remember you, try and use the power of storytelling. Try and make an emotional connect with him. So that's point number 1, that storytelling makes your buyer remember you. Let's move on to point number 2. Point number 2 is storytelling increases the value of your products. I'll repeat that. Storytelling increases the value of your products. Now, again, I'd like to share a story with you. So friends, in about 2008 or was it 2009, 2 journalists conducted an experiment. Now, what they did was they bought about $129 worth of goods from the market. And these were very ordinary things, maybe like a bottle opener, a pen stand, a mouse pad, right? Things which we normally would ignore at home. So they bought about 10 to 15 of these ordinary articles worth about $129. Now, what they did was they called in a couple of content creators and asked them to create a story on each of these articles, each of these random articles which were frankly of no value, right? And they listed these products on eBay with those stories. So rather than just putting in a small description there that, hey, this is a bottle opener, it's made of steel, blah, 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 and all that, which we normally do, they put a story out there. And do you know that these products were sold for, what was the amount these products sold for? These $129 worth of ordinary products? Well, they sold for something around $3,600, which were roughly around 2,700% of what they were originally bought for. Now that again is the power of storytelling. Okay, that's point number 2. Storytelling makes your buyer remember you. Point number 3 is storytelling builds trust. Now again, I'd like to share a story with you. So a very famous neuroeconomics professor called Paul Zak conducted an experiment. He asked a group of volunteers to watch 2 versions of a particular video. Same video, 2 versions. In the first version, in this particular video, there was a boy who was passing away, right? There was a boy who was dying. And in the first version of the video, it was told in the method of a story, through a storytelling method. There was a story around this entire episode. Whereas in the second version, it was a plain simple narrative. And the professor found out that when he observed the first group, he found that the first group who had watched the video which had a storytelling method, they released oxytocin in their body. Now, oxytocin, I believe, is a hormone which builds up trust and compassion and makes people generous, right? But the same was not seen in the second group of people who watched that video with a plain simple narrative. Now, friends, that's point number 3, is that storytelling builds trust. When you tell your customer stories, you help them release oxytocin in their body and they believe and they trust you more. Because normally what happens in a sales call is that customers get defensive. Oh, this person is, trying to, after my money. Not, what false commitments is he going to give to get my money? But when you emotionally connect with him, right? Now that those barriers come down and the customer begins trusting you. So friends, those are the 3 points which are very important and should be used in storytelling for sales. Friends, if you have liked this video, please give me a like. Please subscribe to this video. And I'll be coming up with another video on the importance of storytelling for sales. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one.